Hello everyone, it's Ranger Red 64, and welcome back to another League of Legends lore reading video. Today, we will be reading the short story of the new champion Zeri. Unexpected Spark by Michael Lowe. I cannot accept this, shopkeeper said, pushing Zeri's change back at her. It's just spare parts. You've done too much to help since the miss. Relentless, Zeri looked around. Familiar with the streets showed unfamiliar loss, homes, and shops battered by wicked sorcery that nearly ended the world. People were missing, families were hurting, but crowds still gathered at the entresol markets. Zeri didn't understand exactly what had happened, but she knew this. Zon would rebuild, and she would help. She frowned at the shopkeeper's work-handed hands and pushed her own forward. Get some banana cues for the girls. The shopkeeper sighed, then smiled. Zeri continued through the market, recalling her grandma's oft-repeated reminders. Ignore old man Chai. His parts are always rusted. Line up early at Auntie Maria's. Her marinated chicken is divine. Zeri admitted her grandma could sometimes seem annoying, but she couldn't deny that the woman was right. Her grandma knew the market and its people inside and out. Like how Moses' daughters love caramelized bananas, and it was in moments like these where that intimacy proved helpful. Come here, rat! Zeri spun towards the noise in time to see a boy scurrying through the crowd. Two men tailed him, one short and square, the other tall and lanky limbs. Their outfits were unmistakable. They were Kempt Baron thugs. The boy darted by. Zeri snatched his arm. There, quick, she said, pointing with her lips at Moses' shop. The shopkeeper nodded knowingly. The frightened boy stood still. Trust me, go! The boy sprinted over, ducking under a table that Mo quickly covered with a cloth. Oi! Looking for someone? Zeri shouted at the Lankies as they approached. The man shoved past the locals. Yeah, kid. Just ran through here. You seen him? Asked the stonky one. Maybe, maybe not. The man narrowed his eyes. Tell us. We won't hurt you. Doubt that. But let's skip to the part where I hurt you instead. The man laughed. With what? Zeri reached for her gun, was usually strapped onto, only to find nothing there. Crap. Must have left it in Mom's workshop. Again. Well, time to improvise. She rubbed her hands together and started running in place. The thugs straightened in surprise. Is she dancing? Observed the lanky one. Who cares? Never already. Zeri's hands and feet became a blur. The gear on her jacket's back, a limiter device she called the Spark Pack, spun with building electricity. In a blink of an eye, she zipped between the men, blowing them over in a trail of wild lightning. String currents bounced from her body onto nearby doors and awnings, leaving little embers. Woo! The Lankies lay collapsed on the ground. Zeri's jaw dropped as she noticed a blackened awning collapse and fall to the street. Oh, sorry, Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, said Mo, gesturing under the table for the kid to come out. You're amazing! Boy blurted, arms stretched wide. You gotta help me. They still have my parents. What? Where? Corner of Brass Copper Alley. A factory. They took them there. And others. I saw it. Got it. What's your name? Timmick. Timmick. I'll get your parents. Mind doing me another favor, though? Sure. Oh, patted Timmick's head. Hey, kiddo. Some banana cues for dinner? Like its neighboring streets, Brass Copper Alley housed rows of chem barren factories. Soot filled the air, heavy enough to pace. Who else but the barons would force people to work in these conditions? On the corner, a few guards reeking a less than fine spirits played cards by a rundown building with rusted double doors. Just like Timmick described, Zeri touched her belt, ensuring her gun was secure. She looked for another way in, spotting a rickety air vent large enough to call through. She jumped for the opening, coming inches short. Stepping back, Zeri ran, her feet catching sparks. She hopped higher, this time, boosted by her electricity. You already played that card. She heard a guard growl as her fingers gripped the vent's edge. Did not, snapped the other. You would have known too, if your hand wasn't buried in that bottle. Zeri exhaled in relief. Right. Again, Grandma. Guards are lazier at night. She pulled herself into the vent and started crawling, eventually coming into a large, grated door. Below was a curious room where wide metal pipes lined every wall. The exit was closed off by the double doors she saw earlier. In the middle, a group of people assembled, parts of several Hextech-powered spears watching on like jail guards. Every time something reached the end of the assembly line, a thug tested it, and every time there'd be a flash of blue light, followed by nothing. The guard captain smashed these apparent failures and demanded the people to start over. They said you were the smart ones, the guard said, spitting on the floor. Zeri could tell these people were clearly being held against their will. Parents and spouses and friends, all suffering. Without asking, Zeri banged a fist charged with frustration and electricity against the grate, which rattled from the impact. Zeri scrambled to secure it, but as the heavy grate fell from its fixture, so should it. With a loud clang, she landed in the middle of the floor factory. The room gasped and recoiled in surprise. Is it him? Asked a thug, shaking off the shock. No, snarled the captain. Her face doesn't seem to have the painted hourglass. Zeri rushed to her feet. Don't know who you were expecting, but you can't keep these people here in like this. The captain scolded. Says who? Me. Says me. Zeri whipped out her gun, her right hand clutching its rusted crimson grip. Her mom had designed it without trigger or magazine, needing only her daughter's intimate electricity, which now swelled with anger. Static buzz from Zeri's hand into the gun's conductive barrel, and she took aim. Ultra shock laser! A thunderous beam struck the double doors behind the thugs, blasting the rusted metal apart. Run! I'll take care of the guards! The hostages, with the call, scattered, guards in pursuit. A woman grabbed Zeri's arm. Have you seen my son? He wasn't taken with us. Timmick's fine. He's... Timmick? No, that's not... More thugs swarmed close. Zeri yanked her gun to face them and fired, pushing them back and creating space from the worried woman to flee. We gotta go, a man wore, pulling the woman away. Zeri unleashed more electric bullets as cover fire. When world of this... When the world of Zon, and I don't know, when a word of this gets out, your boss, or to your boss, she yelled, you're gonna wish you'd kill me here. The frustrated guards turned their attention away from the fleeing hostages and towards Zeri. Good. That's it. Come to me. As soon as they approached, she vaulted onto one of the wide, interlocking pipes attached to the walls. It was made of brass and copper, natural conductors. Zeri's feet crackled with electricity, Fueled by her sparks, she skated along the web of the pipes, unloading flurries of bullets at 3 of the onrushing guards. Their bodies twitched and failed before falling over. Definitely, Zeri switched directions, dropping the next few who were climbing the side of railings to surprise her from behind. Only a handful of her attackers were left. She could head home soon. Her family was probably worried sick. A blast struck the pipe beneath Zeri, forcing her off balance. She crashed to the ground. "Got you now," the captain said, holding what looks like to be a Hex-Tech cannon, smoke billowing from its nozzle. His remaining troops rallied, spears at the ready. Zeri struggled to her feet, head spinning, knees scraped and bleeding, electricity currents flickering across her injured body. She lifted her gun to fire. It fizzled. The captain smirked. "Damn. Must have broken in the fall. Her enemies are closing in." "Screw it!" Zeri chucked her gun aside and tore off her jacket. Freed of the spark pack, she felt her body surge with voltage. Leaping into the air, she pinched and punched her left fist up towards the ceiling. Lightning crash! Bioelectric waves shot from her fists, then her chest, and then her entire body, ripping the space asunder. Like a lightning storm, the waves arch off conductive metals, crackling violently as they drowned the room with Zeri's raw power. Bodies jolted before dropping in droves. Zeri fell to her knees, her knuckles propping her up. Blinking sweat from her eyes, she felt searing pain from her wounds everywhere at once. "That better have worked. You little shit." The captain's voice cut through the room. Zeri saw him stumble to his feet, bleeding from his nose and ears. "Why?" Zeri roared. "Why you hurt innocent people?" The man scoffed, kicking the limp bodies around him in search of his weapon. "No one's innocent in the Baroness' eyes." A hum filled the air as the captain lifted his cannon towards Zeri. With what little force she could muster, Zeri tumbled to the side and slipped behind a large fallen pipe. The blast flung her and her cover into a wall. Zeri's vision turned black. When her eyes opened, the captain was gone. Staggering under moonlight, Zeri headed home through nearly empty streets. She was relieved that the hostages were safe, but still gritted her teeth. The camp barons, they always had more. More resources, more power. Their strength was the system they created with everyone under their reign, all contributing to a zone they controlled. Maybe the captain was right. No one's innocent, and everyone's a victim. A flash of blue light erupted behind her, stopping Zeri in her tracks. "Hey, nice work." She turned to see a teenager with a painted face and a glowing bat in hand. Unsure if she had been tailed, Zeri tried to ready herself once more, but struggled to stand up straight in the face of the stranger. "Relax," the young man said. "Timmick told me about you." "And who are you?" "Name's Echo. Those goons from the warehouse were looking for me before you showed up. But man, you wrecked them." Zeri sighed. "If he's against the Barons, he's alright." "Look," Echo continued, "I know you've got a lot of questions. So do I. And I've got to ask, why help folks you don't know?" Zeri shrugged. "I stand up for my community." Echo smiled. "Then we should talk. Zon needs people like you. And I ought to thank you for saving my parents tonight, too." Zeri smiled back. "Anytime.